The Scowl-faced Loitering Climate Parrot, Dramaticus activi Puppetus, also known as the Swedish Climate Alarm Macaw, the useful Clueless cash cow Cockatoo, and the Nordic Emo-Eco preaching Parakeet. The Scowl-faced Loitering Climate Parrot is a somewhat newly discovered Nordic species of the misinformed groomed doomer birds within the large ubiquitous family of the climate cash cow preacher birds. Intentionally introduced worldwide, this Emo-Eco parrot is about as welcomed as fire ants and murder hornets. There is not much information documented regarding older adult Swedish climate parrots. However, a young public-squatting Swedish scowl-faced loitering parrot has been observed for several years now. There is well-documented and speculative observances as to explain what may have happened for this bird to evolve into such a non-stop chattering, emotional eco-cuckoo cockatoo. Some bird fanciers have speculated that certain circumstances during their pre-fledgling years are responsible for this evolution. These speculative circumstances include such things as receiving one heck of an electrical shock from a crudely fashioned solar battery bank, consuming unidentified mushrooms or toadstools, cooking marshmallows over burning tires, and even an early cigar smoking habit. Others have stated that a fondness for gasoline vapors, lead ingestion from licking old galvanized metal windmill towers, using old oil filters for aromatherapy, and exposure to fumes from various burning woods and plastics are to blame. It may even just simply be a result of too many sugary sweets. Speculations aside, this climate parrot does have the basic and easy-to-identify characteristics associated with all angry climate eco-preaching parrots. The ridiculously dramatic, over-the-top bad acting is quite noticeable. There are plenty of B-movie actor birds in the world, but rambling climate-preaching parrots never take a break from their green-screaming and echo-shaming alarm calls. The Western social dumbshit lark is an excellent example of such poor acting skills mixed with an extreme climate-pushing agenda. The most obvious dead giveaway to look for is the incredibly absurd, consistent repeating of a specific doomsday time frame, or end-of-the-world dates like 5 years or 12 years from now, and so on. These characteristics should easily be recognizable. Only the truly ignorant birds, the outright shameless profiting liar birds, and the juvenile TikTok birds would deny such totally obvious positive identification. The Swedish Scowl-faced Loitering Climate Parrot does have some unique characteristics. Its special, angry, permafrown, ticked-off scowling face is practiced and is a result of inexperience or truly poor acting skills. This scowl-face tactic is used to attract attention, which it does, and is hilarious to observe. It is the iconic trait birders patiently wait for. Combining scowl face with grifting or deceptive climate ramblings is used for scheduling media propaganda, photo ops, public displays, laughable meetings with suck-up world leader birds, and elite global ruling vultures. The scowling face does not occur when this parrot believes no one is watching. Some birders occasionally confuse scowl face with lockjaw or lockabeak. This Nordic climate-preaching macaw has been given many other lesser-known names like dingbat doomer, preaching slowwit, and firestarter or arson bird due to its ability to use the up-to-no-good look in its eyes. Its feathers contrast greatly between its public plumage and its non-public plumage. The unkempt, messy appearance of its unpreened feathers is a survival tactic used to fool unwitting observers and is mandatory for its NGO funding, and to enrich the climate-scared corrupt birds via world government's funding, known as the taxpayers, without their consent, of course. Common among eco-preacher birds, this deceptive pseudo-homeless appearance is designed to create a high-moral, self-awareness, illusion, and pity. Sometimes it is quite hard to distinguish the emotional eco-protest birds from the truly homeless birds. These conditioned parrots have no real shame and lack any true self-formed thoughts and opinions. The Swedish scowl-faced parrot may have developed a strong bond with an imaginary friend shortly after hatching. This early bonding allowed conversation later in life that would always end in the imaginary friend agreeing with this parrot. It is believed that these pretend conversations led to this young scowl-faced parakeet to enjoy the free-market capitalist country in which it inhabits. Along with early impressions from exposure to Gilligan's Island, it became an imaginary entrepreneur and prolific designer of an eco-friendly world consisting of high-fiber edible housing, automobiles from sticks and fallen branches, liberal and conservative clothing fashioned from native grasses, thatched or woven barracks, tanks, and airplanes for military use powered by windmills and solar and stored in coconut battery banks, hats from roadkill skunks and raccoons, and even survival vegetable and fish hats. The coconut carp candy may have been real. It was these early thoughts that later led to its grooming and conditioning from parasitic global eco-preacher-teacher vultures. It is these vultures that are the direct connection to the main food source and the ruling nest of the elite hypocrite global birds. The Scowl-faced parrot may never see its dreams come true of a cattle gas fuel alternative station and cafe. After completing the entry-level grooming and conditioning course, the pre-fledgling is now programmed to live the hypocrite, deceived lifestyle. Now those coconut bathing suits, undergarments, and backpacks can be constructed from trees grown from Monsanto's genetically modified seeds and Miracle-Gro. Maybe designing green-friendly plastic nylon arrest activist police carrier and dragging slings would be in its best interest. After a steady continuation of extreme eco-brainwashing, climate parrots earn a con artistry degree and can perform eco-shaming bullying tactics and act as angry, ticked-off eco-teachers to young, gullible TikTok fledglings. At this point, hypocrisy is abundant among extreme climate parrots and may include driving gas-guzzling four-wheel drive pickups, eating meat when no one is watching, hunting for that meat when no one is watching, excessive traveling, knocking back a few pints with suck-up peckers, pusher birds, groomer vultures, and stage media events to push so-called green energy consisting of absolutely unsustainable and destructive solar and windmill farms. Unable to survive without attention, like all spoiled activist parrots, and the top elite vultures making bank, changing tactics becomes necessary. Climate-preaching parrot watchers are quick to notice these changes. Rebranding is the most popular tactic. If you can't get the attention you're demanding, just change the name. From pollution to ozone to greenhouse effect to global warming and now climate change. It's about time for a new name. Unable to offer any sensible ideas, rambling eco-parents are so conditioned that not only is real science never considered, it doesn't even exist to them. It does not fit the narrative and desired outcome to generate massive amounts of birdseed for the elite designers. Climate parrots are programmed to not think for themselves and are not allowed to form their own thoughts and opinions without consulting the groomers and conditioner vultures first. They have little natural instinct and may spend their entire life telling the big lie. These parrots are oblivious to being the useful idiot birds and may never realize that they are the puppets used for an endless payday for the top bird masters. These groomed, clueless cash cow cockatoos also do not realize that no one cares what they are screaming about. With their decelerated minds, they cannot even accurately describe themselves, let alone know what they actually stand for. Like the truly stupid Western social dumbshit lark, the California cackling phony hen, and the Delaware fibber geezer bird, they have zero natural fear that is necessary for true survival instincts. Doomsday climate parrots aren't even wise enough to research all the past foolish doomer birds, of which all were obviously wrong about the end of the world. The list of those moron birds is endless and is even downright entertaining. Many observers of the Swedish Scowl-faced Loitering Climate Parrot have noted that one would need to be intoxicated to believe this parrot's emotional eco-ramblings, which is equivalent to that of a parrot that has had too many in-flight collisions. One avid birder even observed the young parrot chasing cars and concluded that it must have accidentally chased cars in the oncoming lane, at least once. Missing too many school days for climate practice has also been observed. It is worth noting how amazing it is that any unhinged nutty activist bird can reach adulthood and go on and on and on. Migration of the Scowl-faced parrot is astonishing. There has been an incredible amount of sightings all over the world, and for such a conscientious, righteous little bird, this seems a tiny bit hypocritical. Burning all that fuel and emitting such a heavy dose of carbon into our fragile climate must be okay as long as the preacher bird is pushing the big C word. Rest assured, every migratory flight is very important. The song of the Swedish Scowl-faced Loitering Parrot is a mix of virtuous drama and babbling ramblings. The most well-known being the How Dare You and the Blah 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 songs bring the most joy to new bird fanciers. Older, more seasoned birders are pretty much sick of hearing it. Songs like The House is on Fire and You Have Stolen My Dreams are just more old rehashed sounds used for echo-shaming and environmental alarm calling. Other common songs include Nothing is More Important and We Must Change. We, meaning you, not me. By far, the most entertaining song is the We Will All Die in 5 years. We will all die in 10 years. We will all die in 15 years, and is actually a progressive song used by all preaching parrots. Quite humorous, I may add. The Scowl-faced parrot's diet consists mostly of attention, but will also feast on hamburgers, hot dogs, tacos, fries, steaks, pork chops, and Spam, but only if no one is there to witness it. Otherwise, public feedings consist of salads and locally grown sustainable non-GMO organic veggies. It may even occasionally dine on jail food. Nest boxes for most climate-preaching parrots is always projected as modest or minimalistic housing. Nesting data is not yet available for the Swedish Scowl-faced Loitering Climate Parrot, but is assumed that the nest would be lined with plastics, trash, food wrappers, and anything else extracted from its car. It is these parrots that are the true climate deniers. Remain aware of all climate birds, but ignore them completely. Do not feed these parrots. Happy birding!